Did the mayor take aim at gun violence, or did he miss the mark? There is growing criticism of a plan to put an additional 200 officers on the streets overnight for the next 8 weeks. The Toronto Police Association is calling it a short-term fix that doesn't address the real crisis in the city. Sirens blare on the streets of Toronto. Too often this summer, ambulances have rushed to brazen shootings in areas of the city that have rarely seen such devastating violence.
Please, thank you.
And in the face of this crisis, the mayor and police chief have been pressured for a plan. One starts this Friday. 200 additional officers will patrol the city overnight.
This whole notion that we're going to have an additional 200 officers available is just not true. We're relying on the officers that are already overworked.
The Toronto Police Association is blasting the 8-week plan, even grieving the mandatory overtime that will be required to make it work. Officers will be forced to work 12-hour shifts without what the union calls an appropriate rest period between shifts. He says that's breaking their collective agreement.
Asking these people to do more with less. They're going from call to call now. We've already talked at length about the morale issues, the fatigue issues that our members are facing, and this is a big concern.
They want more hires. The city in the process of doing just that, but it won't happen overnight.
This is a temporary measure for 8 weeks. And if I was to pose the question back to anybody who was asking about that, well, did they have any other ideas as to how we could quickly get police resources, additional police resources deployed in neighborhoods where needed, when needed, in those overnight hours? What else could we do? You can't hire them that fast.
Today, the mayor also releasing a 16-point plan that focuses on youth programs with the goal of keeping at-risk youth away from violence. Tory saying the initiatives will help thousands of young people access jobs, mentoring, and after-school programs. Experts say there is no one solution. Is there something that can be done today to prevent these kinds of shootings from going on in the city?
There's no real quick fix. So oftentimes after a string of shootings or even just one shooting or a mass shooting, there is this tendency to try and find the quick fix or the one solution that's going to end gun violence, but that doesn't exist. The solution is systemic, and if we want to rid the city streets of gun violence, then we have to invest in infrastructure that's going to support people who are marginalized and vulnerable. That's the real solution.
Now, the Police Association stresses the grievance is not about the money. They simply want to raise awareness of what they call systemic issues with how the city treats policing, and they are pushing, again, for more hires. They say that is required to keep the city safe.